Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Yes, you can't afford to miss it. You are welcome to yet another edition of this program in the newsroom. My name is Abiodun Olalere. Former military head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, has lamented that 61 years after the nation's independence, Nigeria is still trying to be a nation. We're also taking a look at the latest ranking from the World Bank list of the top 10 international development association borrowers. And according to the newly released ranking, Nigeria has risen to 4th place with $13 billion in International Development Association. And lastly, on the show, we'll also take a look at oil theft. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, has disclosed that hoodlums caused Nigeria a reduction in production level of about 400,000 barrels per day. No doubt this has affected our earnings and is also affecting environmental pollution. So these are the issues we are taking a look at on today's edition of this program in the newsroom. You are welcome once again. And the team is set. Let me welcome Akinola Adelita.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here again.
Usman Abdulatif, you are also welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to our viewers at home.
Yes, we got a message. Our fourth colleague, let me put it that way, will join us in the course of this program. Now, let me start with you, Akinola Adelita. Is Nigeria not a nation? Going by what General Babangida has said.
Yes, he talks about Nigeria. Depends on the perspective that we look at. If we try to look at it from elementary political science definition of what a nation is, of course, there are certain characteristics and features that determine a nation. And if you take that elementary characteristics, Nigeria is not a nation. We have nationalities in Nigeria. And that's why we talk about ethnic nationality, group of people. They are in the same geographical environment with similar culture and language. Yoruba is a nation, Hausa is a nation, Igbo is a nation, and so on. So we have different nationalities like that. All of us with different peculiarity. What we only attempted to do is an attempt at nationhood by trying to come together to form a nationhood that will not be defined by those distinct characteristics that define nationhood. For example, some of the things that IBB identify is the issue of tribe, the issue of religion, and so on. So if we have been able to overcome the challenge of nationhood and Nigeria becomes a nation, maybe some issues of ethnicity and religion will no longer underscore power struggle, for instance, and sharing, and the resource allocation in Nigeria. But those are still fundamental issues that are still part of Nigeria. But like I said, nationhood is not forced. You don't compel people to be a nation. Nationhood is voluntary. People enter an association voluntarily. And so Nigeria cannot be a nation because Nigeria itself, the foundation of Nigerian nationhood is fraught with a lot of irregularities. As a matter of fact, origin-wise, in 1914, some people who came here for business purpose, for the purpose of exploitation, brought us together for ease of colonial administration and for ease of business, and they form us into a nationhood. And if you try to trace Nigerian political development within that period of 1914, the 1960 that we were pronounced politically independent, all the independent agitation also underscored the issue of whether Nigeria would stay together as a nation or not. I recall that sometimes ago, about 1950 or thereabout, the people from the northern stripe of this country walked out of the out of Rep in Lagos, and they said, Araba, we're not part of this nation. In fact, as a matter of fact, when a Nigerian parliamentarian and an hour of blessed memory, moved the motion for Nigeria independence, a part of this country said no, they were not ready. And that was why we did not have independent unanimously. It was unilateral. The Western region left, the Eastern, and followed by them, and we have to come together. And unfortunately, at independence, we did not sit down together to really define the purpose of our nationhood. The fundamentals of our nationhood were not defined. A lot of things has to be defined. The question of resource allocation, the question of who takes what, how, and where, the question of who takes power at what point. Everything that we have had in Nigeria were those things that have been imposed on us by the military. For example, before 1966, Nigeria was enjoying regionalism as a federation. But when Aguiyi came in 1966, he imposed Unitarianism on Nigeria, and since then, we have not been able to overcome the control from the center. And that's why today, the hypocrisy of the ruling class or the political ruling class, whatever party comes into power, nobody addresses that fundamental, that are we a nation? What are the basics that determine our nation? All we do say is to pretend and hypocritically say that unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. And that is a fundamental error. And so speak to what IBB has said. Of course, one of the problems of Nigerian nationhood anyway. The truth of the matter is that we have not attained nationhood. To attain nationhood, we have to sit down together and discuss the fundamentals of our being together. It's not that only one part will control everything. You cannot be tapping petrol in Bayelsa and be refining it in Kano. No, we have to sit down together. Justice is the basis, the foundation for nationhood. But Nigeria is far from that.
Usman, do you share his position?
Thank you very much. I quite agree with him.
Okay, let me also welcome Adewale Adeyin.
Thank you.
We knew you were coming.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Now,
but speaking to the way he said it, he said we are still trying to be a nation. Categorically, he didn't say that we are still not yet a nation, but he said we are trying all that is needed to be done to be a nation. Like my learned colleague has said, we are still far from being called a nation. We are just a kind of people brought together without much, unity of purpose, without much, love for people who are supposed to be together as a nation. And then, if you look at the geographical, system of Nigeria, we are divided into three parts, and that was even shown in our coat of arms. The Hausas are here, the Yorubas are here, and then the other parts are here. So and that is to show you that even after 60-something years after our independence,
61 years,
yes, and about 100 and something years, 110 years after, 108 years after our amalgamation, we are still finding it difficult to be a nation because all the ingredients, the foundation that is supposed to have been laid. For instance, the 1966 coup that brought about the military rule in Nigeria, it was a time when every country that has just got their independence are trying to, put down the foundations, some of the things that are needed that will make it easy for any country to evolve into nationhood. Nationhood is not something you can just grow and you can just wake up and get into it. Nationhood are evolved into due to some like justice, peaceful coexistence, and some other fundamental things. But all those things were not put in place, and for so many years we were under the military rule, which in their own dictionary and their own mentality, nationhood is the last thing. When the military are ruling, their own is to just rule by force. Every other sense of development is pushed aside and pushed to the background. So I think one of the ingredients, and the person that said it himself, belongs to the military rulers of Nigeria. People who didn't allow us to get into nationhood even when we needed to do. And look at the years in which General Babangida ruled Nigeria. It was the years of El Dorado, the years where if we want to really become a great nation, those are the years we could have done it. But all of those years were wasted to military rule and all that. So I think the foundation that's supposed to have been laid 10, 15, 20 years immediately after independence, we couldn't do that. and that was what has been giving us that difficult, momentum to move from a nation of people, separated entities, to people who will live together, so that a man in Kano, we believe, is part of the Nigerian project, and a man in Taraba, a village in Taraba, we also have an equal right and equal access to whatever that is happening within that geographical entity, like the man in Aso Rock himself. So I think the foundation that needed to have been laid over the years, especially in the first 10 years, and if you look at all nations of the world, we are yet to evolve into it. All nations, great nations of the world, after they are coming together as a nation or as a group of people, later and later in the history of their lives, they went through bloody revolution, whereby it was then things were renegotiated and all that. And then I don't pray that we'll go through that, but I think a time will come where we have to sit down let us stop deceiving ourselves. Like rightly said, we are not a nation. And we are not even trying to be, because all the indices that will show that this nation is serious to evolve into a nationhood is not there. Justice is not there. Even the democracy that we've been practicing for close to 20 years, we are still having a lot of lapses there. So where and when will Nigeria evolve into nationhood? So I think I agree with him, but it's part of the problem that made us to be thinking of going into nationhood about 70, 65 years even after independence.
Okay, so Adewale, you are welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Yes, the two earlier speakers have said they could not, or they would not sincerely exonerate General Ibrahim Babangida for Nigeria not being a nation. Do you also share that?
Well, neither could I or neither would I exonerate General Babangida. He says we are trying to be a nation. One of the institutions, as has been rightly said, is that set Nigeria back is a military incursion into politics. And when military got into politics, did they make things better or did they set things backward? When we look at history, we all witnessed the military rule for 35 years. They set the nation back. And let me say that the old national anthem of Nigeria, the first stanza says Nigeria will hail their own dear native land. The second stanza says our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. Those two things are still lacking in Nigeria, and that is why we are still trying to be a nation. The people who fought for independence, Wulo, Azikiwe, and the rest of them, they had a vision in mind of a nation that will stand on its own in a very few years. And they attempted to do it, they tried to do it, but we were only independent for 6 years before the problem began. Even for those 6 years, we know how many years they prosecuted some of them. Awulo was in prison, and in Nahuru and all of that. We know that at least the first 3 years they spent arguing in parliament about these things, how to be a nation, and then the sectionalism and all of that. The third stanza says, "O God of all creation, grant this one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed." Oppression is going on in Nigeria now, and that is why we are still struggling trying to be a nation. When we remove oppression of one tribe against the other, or one section of the country oppressing the rest of the country, when we remove that, the moment we are able to remove that, Nigeria will be ready to be a nation.
Are you saying a section is oppressing the other?
Well, we all know it, that one part of the country gains prominence and ascendancy over all the others. Yes, I'm saying that.
Okay, well, I don't want to go into that now, so maybe for another day, because I may not agree with you, but that will be a topic for another day. Now, what do they think we should do so that we won't continue to be trying so that we can be a nation?
We have said it for the 18th time. Let us have a sovereign national conference to decide the nationhood, to talk about it. We have
heard two.
No, those ones that we heard, we're not talking about Nigerian nation. They were talking about administering Nigeria, administration of Nigeria. For example, the one President Jonathan.
Can we have a sovereign one when we have elected?
We can have one. We can have one. The National Assembly is not even addressing the issue. The National Assembly that has the right, that has the power by Section 4 to amend the Constitution to talk about Nigerian nation. It's not talking about Nigerian nation. And that is one. We agree that sovereignty lies with the people, and we have considered our sovereignty to the National Assembly on that, to act on our behalf. But the National Assembly is also abdicating its fundamental responsibility by trying to look the other way from the fundamentals of Nigeria. For example, one of the most fundamental issues in Nigeria is the structuring Nigeria. That is one of the most fundamental. For instance, you cannot have a federal government that does not have a land and has a Minister of Agriculture. Section 1 of the Land Use Act says that all land belongs to the state government, held in trust for the people. So how come that the man does not have a land, has a Minister of Agriculture? What does federal government do with Minister of Education? Educating who? These are fundamentals that have to be talked about. That look, we cannot continue to carry this baggage. And these people have the responsibility, the power to address this issue and say, okay, let's look at this and restructure Nigeria on the strength of downloading the heavy load they have put on the federal government, and do this about they refuse to do that. In the absence of the National Assembly incapacitation by their individuals who are there, let us have a sovereign national conference representing every nationality. Do you know today there is not 109 members of the Senate and the 435 members of the National Assembly does not still represent every ethnic nationality in Nigeria? You will be shocked that if you go to the National Assembly, that somebody representing a particular region may be from a particular folk in the last 20 years. For example, if you go to Borno State, with respect, Senator Ahmed Lawal, the national president, who has been there now since 1999, it represents only one ethnicity. It's not representing all the ethnicity in southern Borno. And we also have same.
It's
if
from
you come,
Yobe State.
It's from Yobe State. Oh, from Yobe State.
Okay.
From southern Yobe. Now, if you come to our state here, despite the fact that we are monotonous or Osun or Yoruba land, despite the fact that if you come to here we are as Osun people, you still have a little of ethnic differentiation. You still have the Desha, the Ife, the Bono, the Bomina, the Oyo. There are still little peculiarity. And you have an Oyo man representing the rest of the other two tribes who belongs to the Central Senatorial District. But you see, the Sovereign National Conference we talk about, every ethnic nationality we agree that we are saying this man should represent. Now we'll sit down together to decide the fundamentals of Nigerian
you call it just now.
Sovereign National Conference.
This constitutional conference or national conference, as the case may be, is it all about sharing power or sharing money?
No, it shouldn't be that. But unfortunately, the people that are supposed to, let us face the reality. Until we have patriots, people who think above themselves and think for the generations to come. Look at the first set of leadership that we had after our independence. Those are people who are not thinking of their selves, their immediate family, and their immediate environment. They were thinking of the next generation. That was why they were able to put all those things that we had now, that we've been seeing, all these projects, all these life-changing projects, that is now benefiting a lot of generations since 1960s up to now. Now, what I make that reference because until we have people who are patriots, now those who are supposed to be doing all this, that is why every national confab or anything that we've been having, the moment another government comes, he rubbish it and put it aside. Because every of those national confab has been viewed or even has been organized with the intention of politics. No, any day we want to solve our real problems, we are going to have a real sovereign national conference or national confab where everybody will sit. And it will not be about sharing or political power alone. It will be about sitting and discussing some fundamental things about our coexistence as people.
I don't. We have many countries of the nation who started as one, but now, remember the whole Soviet Union. But many people, or some people believe that when you talk about sitting down to talk, you are talking about separation.
Yeah. Well, even the United States did not start as one. They're one now, but they did not start as one. Their ethnic nationality, their regional interests and all of that, but they came together, built and established institutions. That those institutions are what's keeping them together even till today. You see what's happening after Donald Trump. You see what's happening even right as we speak today. They have institutions that are built in that keeps them together. no one part of the country will come out and say they want to separate in the United States, because there are institutions that keep them together. The former President Donald Trump tried to separate them by their interests, but it didn't work because they had institutions, or they have institutions that keep them together. What we don't have in Nigeria are strong institutions, and we don't have strong institutions because we have diverse and divergent interests based on regional, ethnic, and all of these divergent interests. That is why things are going to be will continue to be difficult in Nigeria.
But if we have patriots as our leaders,
yes,
and things are going the way they should go, would there be need for occasional conference? There would still be need for us to sit down and talk?
The people who negotiated our independence, they were patriots, and they were committed, and they were patriotic, and they had the public interest at heart. But then after 1966, or come 1966, everybody began to share. Like you said,
I'm not even sure those who negotiated our interests were also patriots, as we see. Because when the foundation is strong, everything you build it continue to have issues. You cannot build something on nothing. If you read about Obafemi Awolowo, read about him. In fact, read the travesty of democracy by Obafemi Awolowo. You know that they were all the beginning to was due to selfishness problems, and so that was what the military came in the first instance. What was the argument of this guy who led the first coup? And some, no, not Agui Rosti. This guy, Ezeogu, who led the first coup. Look, read about them. Read their book. Read the guide of Nigeria Biafra. It has always been, the foundation has always been wrong and been fundamentally wrong. But that is why that we have to address it. You talk about, even the Soviet Union you mentioned, they were forced together. Soviet Union didn't come together voluntarily. It was a compulsion of socialism. But at the time, when socialism became a little bit weak, and the Western power became more overwhelming, everybody felt that, look, continue to stay together is not. But what I want to say is this: in the world, the only very extremely few countries or society can you see exclusively that is not a merger of different interests. There is no country, most countries of the world are federal nations, but those federalism are based on discourse, on agreement, on this and that. Is not based on where somebody must say you must stay together by force.
Okay, because of our time, because we have not actually looked at regionalism too. Let's move ahead. Let's move forward. Another endless topic. I know we still have cause to come again and discuss this topic. Now, Usman, Nigeria's debt had risen from $11.7 billion last year, June 30th to be precise, to $13 billion, according to International Development Association. That's not a sharing news.
It's not a sharing news, and let me first of all state that it is not a bad thing to be indebted. For every development comes challenges and then sacrifices, and one of the sacrifices is that you have to find a way to develop. And one of the ways that has been tested over time, over the years, is that you have to borrow somewhere and then use it to develop yourself. But in the case of Nigeria, it is a sad reality that we borrow a lot and then we see very little on ground. So, and some of the things we borrow for are really shameful. Let me put it that way. As a nation, we shouldn't be borrowing money to pay salaries or to solve recurrent expeditious problems. But in Nigeria, instead of borrowing to solve capital expenditure or infrastructure, critical infrastructure, we are borrowing. So I think and between that last year, don't let us look at last year. President Buhari in the last 8 years has borrowed a lot of money. Though and yes, it is unfortunate that most of these changes are not being felt. The change his party promised Nigerians are not being felt, and then billions of dollars are going down the drain every day.
Is it not that when you have a deep sea, no matter how
that is part of the problem, and that will take us to the very topic that we just left. I mean, you realize that there are a lot of draining, I mean, agencies, parastatals of the federal government. That all this money, I mean, substantial amount of it are going into some of this money that has been borrowed are being used for, I mean, irrelevant and very, very, very insensitive stuff. So okay, I believe that we shouldn't be indebted that way. And even if we are indebted that much, what are the results on ground to show that those indebtedness is not going to vain? People are not just stealing the money.
Okay, I think if I'm getting him correctly, we are in Osun here. Do you feel this debt in Osun State? do you feel it in Oyo State? I think that is his position.
Of course, those who are in power now, the current administration is bragging about not borrowing money. That is public knowledge that they are not borrowing money, but privately, how well are they doing? We don't know. We only know what is being told or being shown to us. But let me say this, that we blame the government, we point fingers at the federal government, the state government, whatever government, but we as individual Nigerians, what are our contributions toward making this government solvent? We fight about our salaries because it's not enough. We fight about our right to this, our right to that, because we are not getting it. But what contribution are we willing to make? How much tax do we pay? Every person that earns any amount of money in civilized country gets something deducted from there to pay tax. They're doing that in Osun, they're doing that in other states, but people will fight against it. Why do we have billboards all over the place telling us to Sawori, pay your tax? Because people are not willing to do it, and people will find a way to avoid paying taxes. And as long as we avoid paying taxes, then the government will not have money to run itself. We depend on oil money, and the oil money is not coming in like it should. It's depleting. We have excess crude account, and the excess crude is depleting every day. The Minister of Finance on the screen now is saying that they are borrowing from the foreign reserve because they don't have enough within. So we need to look within ourselves before we start blaming government.
We are four here.
We are four here.
That our viewers are seeing.
And there are thousands who are watching us here right now.
Let's leave those others. Who among us here is not paying tax?
Well, are you paying tax?
Direct from source.
Willingly.
Of course, I've never complained.
Oh no, willingly, but are you paying it because you have to pay it or because it's deducted from your account? Pay as you earn.
Those that are not paying, is it their fault or the fault of government?
Those that are not paying is because the government makes the law, but the government is not enforcing its own law. The mechanic, this organizer, everybody that earns income ought to pay a percentage of his income, unless if you have a minimum level.
The bricklayers who
the bricklayer is earning money.
The Tyler man, they are not paying taxes. And government is not saying.
They
have association
because they are not willing to
when
pay.
it is time for election, our political class will run to them through their leadership.
Yeah.
But they would, after election, they will not, and they won't go to them and say pay.
That's what I said.
So that's why I'm saying. We also have to blame government.
But the elected class or the elected people, officials, they are only catering to the wishes of the people because the people don't want to pay, so they are only doing what they want.
To lose votes.
That's
so
why.
you wanted to add to that.
Well, I said it all. Like what he said, it's a two-way thing: government and the people. But of course, because the people own the government. The whole thing is that our society is society that is entrenched in hypocrisy.
Yeah. And
that is exactly what we are suffering. The people who want more are not ready to pay for anything. The government wants votes, and because by the time the government tries to say this to the people, the opposition will cave on that and go and massage the people's ego just because they want to come to power. What this has indicated that we are unserious people. I am sick. What Lord Lugar said about us in 1926 is still the same thing. We are serious, we are dishonest, we are people who lack apprehension of tomorrow. We live for today, we are excitable. We just happy about something and go on. We don't even have a deep thought that what is going to happen tomorrow. Today, the Nigerian indebtedness is a function of leadership. It's a failure of leadership, no doubt.
That's it.
Olusegun Obasanjo is the only Nigerian president that has not borrowed a cover either as a military president or civilian. Check the record. But how did he marry Nigeria? They didn't borrow money. It was done in his time that we were able to pay back 12 billion was debt cancellation of 12 billion. That was on the strength of integrity and commitment of leadership. Why has it been now difficult for subsequent leadership of Nigeria to also follow that? It shows that we are the profligacy of our leadership and the recklessness of the leadership is what we are paying for, is the result. If we are borrowing, no doubt, nobody is saying it's wrong to borrow money. But what have we borrowed money to do? Did we borrow money to resuscitate at the Okuta Steel, the Oshogo Steel Road? Did we borrow money to do that? What did we borrow money for? Let us ask a fundamental question. We borrow money, they say we borrow money to fix road. How many of those roads have you seen in southwest Nigeria? How many of those infrastructure have you seen around there? Lagos Ibadan has been under construction in the last 15, 16. Jonathan started it. As we speak, it has not concluded. They said they borrow money from China to do rail. Rail has stopped in Ibadan. For how long? Where is it going? And what? See, all of these things. But because is it not part of the money that we are going to do rail up to Niger Republic, that we bought vehicle for Niger Republic? And we are naming streets after the Niger Republic president. Is it not part of the... No. We are a people of emotion, not reason and logic. And same goes for our leadership. So our leadership and leadership of emotion and not leadership of logic. Those who have logic and reason, they are put to the background. You know, in this part of the world, when you are a serious-minded person, people don't appreciate you. They appreciate the one that will dance and clap. They appreciate the one that will sing. I want to say it. Okay, look, in Osun State today, the president administration of Boyega Itola said he has not borrowed money, but nobody has challenged him. That means he has not borrowed. The opposition are there, the record are in the public. If truly he has borrowed, somebody would have said it's a lie. I have so that he has borrowed so amount. I mean, why? Can you borrow without the approval of the House of Assembly? No. The only thing you can do, you may be indebted. That maybe you are working on a project, you have not paid the contractor or whoever is doing it. But it's not a question of whether you are borrowing. You cannot borrow without the consent of the legislature. So it has not borrowed. Why can't we run Nigeria in such a manner that we don't have to borrow? For example, Nigeria is reckless and the people are spending recklessly. The leadership, you want to buy a TV of 10,000 or 200,000. They approve everything. You know the waste. Federal government of Nigeria is a wasteful government. They waste our resources and that's why we push into debt. Only few people are getting the money, becoming every billionaire in Nigeria. Ask them the source of their wealth. It's not the government.
That was where I was going, and in fact, I wanted to take it back to Mr. Adewumi. Maybe I have to do that now. He mentioned something now. Even when these loans are obtained, the belief of some people is that yes, even when they are spending on contracts, it's still believe that some people will still cut from this money. That the entire money will not go to will not be expended for
the project. 50% of the money, 65%
I talk about the 10,000 naira television. Somebody will approve 100,000 naira.
Well, that's not unique to Nigeria. During the presidency of Jimmy Carter in the United States, they bought a piece of hammer, $40 for 40,000. So they're doing it there too. It's a human issue. But in Nigeria, we are saying that the present government is borrowing. It's not encouraging manufacturing like they should. It's not encouraging local production. Innocent Motors is manufacturing automobile. Every government official ought to be riding Innocent automobile. But what are they riding? Look at the 114, I counted 92 vehicles on that video going to Niger Republic, paid for by the Nigerian government. They were Toyota cars, not bought from Innocent Motors. So the government is not encouraging anything local. The government is not helping itself. And so the people themselves are not willing to help themselves or help the government. I read an article that says one man, I forgot his name, all his property has been confiscated. First Bank took him to court. Oh, you remember First Bank in Kano or somewhere? They sealed it up because First Bank owed money to somebody else. And so everybody is borrowing, living on borrowed time, living on borrowed income.
Now, according to this report,
yes,
there is also, this debt is distinct from $486 million loan from the World Bank's International Bank for the Construction and Development. So, and I'm not also sure too if China's
loan is part
not
of
even part of
it's part of this.
It's not even required.
And there are also local debt. We hold some contractors.
Every time you put money,
and you also know that
government
these marketers also complain that government is also owing them. So I'm not sure if we can actually get the total.
We don't have the true picture of the debt profile.
We don't have the true picture of the debt profile. But the problem is this: far from the history of borrowing, from the history of the international, lending agency, they give you money with conditionality to spend it on social services and you waste this money. And because they know that we are excitable and unserious people, so they give. You see, it's just simple. When we're growing up, you have a cocoa farmer. One person knows that his cocoa is going to do well this year. He comes and give him something he does not need, and the man pay heavily for it, and he wastes the whole resources. So the same thing.
You are a Nigerian, just like all of us, and I want to believe most of those also watching us at home. Nigeria is ranked among India, Bangladesh, and what have you. But one thing is that these other countries, they are reducing their debt. In the case of India now, the debt had been reduced from $22 billion to $19.7 billion, and Bangladesh too from 18.1 billion to 18. At least one is off it. But in the case of Nigeria, it's just going up.
Yes, it will be going up. And the debt profile that the current president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, met, that President Jonathan left to him, he didn't reduce any of it. 2 years after, almost on a yearly basis, except for 2017 and 18, he has been taking loans. Sometimes he will take loan twice in a year. And then there is no way we'll be reducing it. During the time of President Jonathan, at least I know of twice, I couldn't remember the exact year, that we borrowed to pay salaries. That has also happened during the first time of President Buhari. And then if you look at the wage bill of the federal government, it is in hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But the federal government is still insisting that it wants to establish more universities.
That is why the fundamental problem we have in Nigeria is the problem of leadership. It is because somebody knows that in establishing more universities, that is more contract for their cronies, that is more money going to private profit. If you look at some of this, the issue of establishing some of these things, they will fix their boys, they will have job for their contractors. It is all their own companies being fronted for them by their cronies that will get most of the contracts, supplies and all that in some of these universities. And that it is that money that is borrowed that somebody will be using for that Father Christmas. That is to tell you that 70% of all the borrowed money is not about being borrowing. It is about what becomes of the money that is being borrowed. So and now we are not reducing it.
I'm not sure if any one of us also know that some foreign companies like Emirates Airlines, the profit from their investments are being trapped in Nigeria, because if they should remove those money, because it is in foreign, they're in foreign currencies, it will affect our economy.
Before I
that's why I give an example.
Before I submit on the issue of tax, Nigerians are really trying, though we are not too good in direct taxing. Laborers, all these people taxing, but they are being taxed indirectly on almost 98% of all the products that we are buying.
Yeah,
so now, and through that VAT, we are getting a lot of taxes. And now, FIRS, another, money-making ventures of the federal government, the custom and all that, have been posting a lot of surpluses for some years. They are really raking a lot of money in through taxes, whether company tax and all that. They
are in naira. They can't match dollar.
Yes. But at least to some extent, people are paying taxes.
Nigerians are trying. That's what I'm saying.
Nigerians are trying. And the government doesn't have
or sales tax or value. But along with value-added tax, I am also paying personal income tax.
People land use charge on your houses, you should pay money. If you are working, what you earn, that is a percentage you pay. You have said it. For me, we have been very irresponsible. Let's agree that we have entitlement mentality. The people want everything free.
Exactly.
Okay, because we are used to things that are free.
Let's move
the government also doesn't have the moral right to be taxing the people. Because the money, the government knows that they know what they are making of those taxes. When you tax the people and it ends up in the pocket of somebody that is privileged, no, you don't have the moral right to ask for that.
Let's move to the third topic now,
which is
because and it is also another means where Nigeria is losing millions of naira on daily basis, according to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva. He said about 400,000 barrels of crude oil are being stealing on a daily basis in Nigeria. Usman. When the federal government, no, I should come to you. When the federal government find it difficult to police this, and you now say you should be paying tax.
Your question has answered my question.
Okay.
Why is the federal government finding it difficult to arrest or even to trap those who are stealing stealing oil, bunkering oil? Oil is not stored in a bottle that I can hide under my shirt. It is it is loaded in large bag that is sailing the sea, and even the speed at which those things sail at sea, they're not so fast. You can catch them by flying over them. You can get them, but the willingness is not there. Minister Timothy Silva cannot deny the fact that they are looking the other way when they should be going after those who are stealing these 400,000.
The minister I also called is soliciting for the support of some governors. He was with the governor of Imo State when he made this revelation. The federal government controls the police, NCDC. I mean, did I get it right?
Civil defense.
Civil defense. NCDC. Yes, I knew I didn't get it correctly the first time. That was why I was wanting to bail me out. DSS, Nigerian Army, Air Force, police, Navy. Why was it going to the governor? The governor don't control any of this.
That is why we have said, let us restructure Nigeria. Yeah. If you restructure Nigeria, Imo State, I will have to police. If Imo State, they are stealing 200,000 from his oil every day, that's his own headache. If you cannot police your state. But you have answered the question. When you control the security apparatus, the Nigerian Navy has the mandate to police the Nigerian waterways and the Nigerian, marine police. So what is their business? How many persons have been fired? Nigeria is, oh God. I don't know. Look at it. If we have seen now, it's a system that's just rubbing your head, massage yourself and go on. Someone Kuje prison was jailbreaking Kuje and Beneda place. Nobody has been sacked. The minister is there, laughing and doing and talking everywhere. Same thing. The same way we are. Yes, now these are people. It's annoying.
What about those that are directly involved?
Nigeria is losing 400,000 barrels of oil per day, and everybody is still there in office. The minister is there. The commander of the naval or western flag or whichever that is in charge is there.
Eastern flag.
And they get promoted every day and they retire and go back home. And you see now, why do we have to complain? We not complaining. You see, all of us, the government knows the solution to this. But you see, when you do not have the will to do what you should do, it's because of the problem. That is why it's unfortunate that the right person, the right individual, do not get to power in Nigeria. Because of the way the system is skewed, it's only the prebenders, the excitable characters, and the dancer people that come to power in Nigeria. If you have serious-minded persons in Nigeria who can enforce the law the way it should be, some of these things can be addressed. It does not take rocket science. They should not be telling us the theory. They know how it has been said. They know how those oil move out of Nigeria. Do you even know whether some of them have caught where the oil is sold? And that's the way same theory they talk in their subsidy business. Subsidy has never ended. They use it to campaign against Jonathan. Now they came, they are still paying subsidy. Deceiving us every day. And today now, there's those who are in charge of something say they want to strike. All marketers say they will go on strike. Who is fooling? What is the thing about all of this thing? Everything is shrouded in secrecy by those who are in charge of our politics. We need a leadership that is firm, that is straight, that is purposeful. Oh, I give it to the Obama has been the best Nigeria has ever had. Either a military or civilian. Take it. I stand to be challenged. That's been the best Nigeria has ever had. But you now keep on having prebender, people don't even understand the system, don't even understand what to do. When you know about John now, when he was there, you will see leadership. You will see at least that somebody will back and bite. Not somebody just what is happening.
Thank God the pastor is no longer contesting.
The man,
you are campaigning for him.
The man who is even the man himself who assumed who arrogate the power of Minister of Petroleum, the president and who double as the minister. He has not even said, he does not even know what is going on. NNPC alone has more than 12 conglomerates. What are they doing? DPR, MME, all of these things. What are they doing? Just waste and fraud. A senior man, you see, he has lack political. A senior minded person would have come and said, look, stop this. If we have an NPC, let it be an NPC. Today now, they have NPC now has been commercialized absolutely.
As a result of this, we could no longer meet our international demand. For now, meaning that our earnings are dropped, and the minister is also complaining about the likely or about a possibility of environmental pollution, because the way and manner these crude are being stolen, of course, will not meet any standard, any set standards.
Let's face the reality, like the two speakers that have spoken previously. I think the federal government, or let me say the president and people in power, know the people who are the cabals or the cartels that are doing all this work of stealing the oil on a daily basis. I mean, like Adewumi said, it is not that they are under the ground or inside a bunker or something. They were operating on the land.
Yes,
they are operating on the land, and most of their locations are known, especially in the Niger Delta.
I'll come back to you. You said something a while ago, that crude is not what you can just keep in your pocket as what you will not see. If we talk about 400,000 barrels, do we really know what a barrel of crude is?
A barrel is how many gallons? 22. I think it's 22. 22 point something.
22 gallons for a barrel.
Yes.
So it means 22 times 400,000.
That is a very huge.
And being done on daily basis.
So that is to show you that it is a pattern that happens every day. The problem is the real truth is not telling Nigeria. It's even insulting to be telling Nigerians this. The real truth is not telling Nigeria is that somebody gets settled along the line, all the people up to the top get settled along the line, people look away, like you said. People just look away. It is not that this thing is something like a secret or something. It is a very big and booming business where big men, people, influential people of society are part of it. And that's why the federal government is just looking away. I mean, nobody can be stealing that huge amount of money for a country that is only relying, that most of its economy rely on that crude oil, that particular thing. Somebody that if I have something that my life depends on it now, will I joke with it? No, I will take it seriously. So now, even the police, even the marine police, even the navy and all these people that you are mentioning, everybody got settled along the line. I know young officers that are posted to that part of the country, and in few years time they are back. Constables and recruits they are coming back, becoming millionaires. It is because along the line people are settled. Now, what it should be telling us is that this is an insulting statement. They all know those that are involved, and they know how to reach them, and they know where they are doing it. And that's why once in a while you see them parading some few, unfortunate beings.
They only parade those who do what they call illegal refinery. They have never arrested anybody stealing oil.
And that oil, and like Adewumi said, those stolen oil will be shipped. They are going to load them. Those barrels are going to be loaded on the sea, and they are going to transport them. So are you telling me
it will take months?
It will take months to transport them on the waterway. So they all know what is happening to the oil. Just that some big people are benefiting. They are getting their own cut, and they are looking away.
So we don't know a land, or we don't know a property owner, or let me say, I don't know a property owner whose property will be stolen today The thief will come tomorrow. Will come
on a daily basis for years.
So they are stealing every day, and
you are watching.
Now, let's look at this. Let's look at the distance of these pipelines.
Yeah.
What the minister is telling us, is it not a way of informing or telling Nigerians to look for another way of refining rather than pulling crude oil from Bayelsa State down to Kaduna? Because all these pipelines, if the product is refined within that vicinity, then the cost of maintaining pipeline, transporting, policing, that's the way.
Next time you go to Abuja, as you drive north or south, but as you're coming back south, look on your right side, you will see miles and miles of pipelines being laid for the purpose of getting crude oil from the Delta region and transporting it all the way to Niger Republic. It's already there right now. When you next time you drive, just look on your right, you see those pipelines.
Yes, it is a project. I'll tell you about that project. Go ahead.
But Nigeria should station law enforcement along those areas, or should have regular surveillance of those pipelines. You remember under Jonathan, they awarded the contract to supervise, or rather to survey, to secure the pipeline to OPC. And what came out of that? Nothing. Yeah. Another way to make money or steal money.
To persuade people in his assumption that some people are toggle, people can help him to.
So that's the problem we have in Nigeria. We make laws, but we don't enforce them. And law to legislation without enforcement is a mockery of the law. You are just blowing smoke, and just writing papers, but you are not enforcing them.
Most of the oil being stolen in Nigeria are not due to tampering with the pipeline. Some are, extracted directly from oil wells and all what are they?
Somebody is giving it to them.
Yes.
And even the foreign oil companies are also culpable.
Yes. What the project you talk about is a $2.8 billion Ajakuta Kaduna Kano pipeline project. The one you said you saw.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
So I mean, rather than but I think this also has to do with gas. They call this KKK product. I don't know the details for that. Okay, that's how far time will permit us on today's edition of this program. I just wanted to prove to you that what you are saying is is the truth. That's how far time will permit us on today's edition of this program in the newsroom. Let me appreciate my colleagues that are in the house. Akanla Adito, I thank you for your contribution. Nigeria will become a serious nation one day.
Amen.
Usman Ablatif.
Thank you very much.
And
Adewale
Adeobi. What my friend will say, not a matter of it's a matter of commitment.
Exactly.
Well, the program will be back tomorrow between 3:30 and 4:30. My name is Abiodun Olalide. We'll see some other time. Bye bye.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. In the newsroom, you can't afford to miss it.